to about 30% of the world's population, and in many ways, it was the pinnacle of human advancement. Its citizens enjoyed the benefits of central heating, concrete, double glazing, banking, international trade, and upward social mobility. Rome became the first city in history with 1 million inhabitants and was a center of technological, legal, and economic progress. An empire impossible to topple, stable and rich and powerful. Until it wasn't anymore.
Our careful, and I mean careful, attention to building and sustaining the liberal international world order with the United States and Europe at its core was the bedrock of the success the world enjoyed in the second half of the 20th century. An era of expanded liberty, unprecedented economic growth that lifted millions out of poverty. A community of democracies that to this day serves as a fulcrum for our common security and our capacity to address the world's most pressing problems.
But this modern globalized civilization is even more vulnerable in some ways than past empires because we are much more deeply interconnected. A collapse of the industrialized world literally means that the majority of people alive today would perish, since without industrial agriculture, we would no longer be able to feed them. And there's an even greater risk. What if a collapse was so deeply destructive that we were unable to re-industrialize again? First slowly, then suddenly, the most powerful civilization on Earth collapsed. By civilization, we mean a complex society where labor is specialized and social classes emerge, and which is ruled by institutions. Civilizations share a dominant mutual language and culture, and domesticate plants and animals to feed and sustain large cities, where they often construct impressive monuments. Civilization lets us become efficient on large scales, collect vast amounts of knowledge, and put human ingenuity and the natural resources of the world to work. Without civilization, most people would never have been born, which makes it a bit concerning that collapse is the rule, not the exception. Virtually all civilizations end, on average, after 340 years. Collapse is rarely nice for individuals. Their shared cultural identity is shattered as institutions lose the power to organize people. Knowledge is lost, living standards fall, violence increases, and often the population declines. The civilization either completely disappears, is absorbed by stronger neighbors, or something new emerges, sometimes with more primitive technology than before. If this is how it's been over the ages, what about us today?
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics.
Strengthening these values that served our community of nations so well for so long, is paramount to retaining the position of leadership the Western nations enjoy and preserving the progress we've made together, and I would argue, the health of the remainder of the world.
Wages have declined, our working class is impoverished, endless war is a lucrative business, and the world's wealth has been seized by global oligarchs. Kleptocracies such as the one now installed in Washington brazenly loot the nation's wealth. Democratic idealism is a joke, and we are knit together only by commerce and technology, forces that Hannah Arendt called negative solidarity. Nowhere is this more true than with the modern calls for jihad by self-styled Islamic radicals, most of whom have no religious training and who often come out of the secularized criminal underworld.
Karen, the shooter, was 28 years old and a former student at Covenant School, a small Presbyterian church elementary school in Nashville. Audrey Hale, now identified by police as the person who shot through a locked door to get into the school about 10:30 this morning. A 5-officer team went straight to the gunfire on the second floor here at Covenant School and killed the intruder, who was armed with an AR-style rifle, an assault-style pistol, and a handgun. At least 2 of them legally obtained, according to authorities. Even though it appears to have been a rapid police response, 3 adults and 3 children were killed before officers could end the incident. The children, a pair of 9-year-olds and 1 child turning 9, and among the adults, a janitor, a substitute teacher, and the head of the school, 60-year-old Catherine Kuntz. Police say they found a horrific crime scene.
We know and believe that entry was gained through shooting through one of the doors, is how they actually got into the school.
But as today's shooting in Nashville, Tennessee demonstrates, there is more work to be done. The fact that this is a daily occurrence in America is unconscionable.
In Washington, this latest school mass shooting reverberating to the Senate floor. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin.
We need to pass more reform to keep guns out of dangerous hands and to keep our children safe.
With the shooter, 28-year-old Audrey Hale, dead, tonight investigators converge on the home where the graphic artist lived. They have found evidence that the attacker cased the school and had maps of the layout. A planned attack, they say, was executed about 10:30 this morning.
Let us love each other and support each other and hug each other and pray for each other.
Investigators tonight going through the shooter's digital footprint, including a now-removed Facebook post in which Hale wrote of binging on video games. Hale's mother telling ABC she lost her daughter today, saying it's very, very difficult right now, asking for privacy, then hanging up the phone. A neighbor telling ABC News Hale lived at the family's home and was, quote, very religious.
The jihadist leader Abu Musab Zarqawi, nicknamed the Sheikh of Slaughters in Iraq, was, before he became a radical jihadist, a pimp, a drug dealer, and a heavy drinker. The Afghan-American Omar Mateen, reportedly, was a frequenter of the nightclub in Orlando, Florida, where he massacred 49 people and had been seen there drunk. Anwar al-Awlaki, who preached jihad and was eventually assassinated by the United States, had a penchant for prostitutes. Abu Muhammad al-Adani, a senior leader of the Islamic State when he was killed, called on Muslims in the West to kill any non-Muslim they encountered, these are his words, smash his head with a rock, or slaughter him with a knife, or run him over with your car, or throw him down from a high place, or choke him or poison him. These crude, and I would mention deeply anti-Islamic sentiments, have far more in common with Bakunin's propaganda by deed that characterized the nihilism of the late 19th century. It is updated and amplified in videos and live stream feeds and social media. This anarchic violence fills the void left by the destruction of indigenous beliefs, traditions, and rituals. And as Mishra notes, these jihadists represent the death of traditional Islam rather than its resurrection. It is this rage, this resentment at being left behind, that drives terrorist attacks in Paris, London, and now New York. It is what led Timothy McVeigh to bomb the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City in 1995, killing 168 people, including 19 children, and injuring 684. And when McVeigh was imprisoned in Florence, Colorado, the prisoner in the adjacent cell was Ramzi Ahmed Youssef, the mastermind of the first attack on the World Trade Center in 1993.
Videotape the beating of Rodney King takes the stand.
The satellite picture shows a few clouds over the northeastern corner of the state. Temperature of 47 degrees in Waco.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?
2020 is the year that she broke my heart. Now I'm going to the top, going to the charts. Me and Luna in the race, shall we go far? We be pulling up in foreign cars, yeah. We be smoking dope, we up on Mars, yeah. Plus we ball like Curry Irving too. When we pull up to your city, better break the loot.
Separation, anxiety, don't lie to me. I'm breaking, I'm empty. I feel so damn empty. My heart's broke, filled with anxiety. These goddamn bills don't help me. They only kill me slowly. I feel so damn empty. My heart's broke, filled with anxiety. These goddamn bills don't help me. They only kill me slowly.
They're good at keeping borders open. Why don't they want voter ID? There's only one reason you don't want voter ID, because you want to cheat on elections. And the Republicans are tougher, but they cannot take it. These Washington.
Free thinking, innovative, and totally open-minded. Tommy Nation Politics.
Hi guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. We're gearing up for the 2024 election season, and Donald Trump had his first presidential 2024 election rally at Waco. 30 years ago, I believe there was a other cult, David Koresh. I don't know if y'all remember him, but
in 1993, Americans watched breathless as FBI agents faced off with a self-proclaimed religious prophet and his armed followers in Central Texas. This was the Waco siege, a weeks-long standoff between the federal government and a religious group known as the Branch Davidians. Established by leader Victor Houtef, the Branch Davidians are a Christian sect, an offshoot of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, with a literal interpretation of the Bible's prophecies. Houtef and a group of his followers settled near Waco, Texas in 1935. Branch Davidians believe in the second coming of Jesus Christ and a day of judgment in which God will punish the wicked and reward the good. In preparation for Judgment Day, the Branch Davidians isolated themselves from the outside world in their commune near Waco. Confined to a 77-acre compound called the Mount Carmel Center, they established their own way of life. The group had gone through various divisions and changes in leadership before it was taken over by a charismatic Bible teacher named David Koresh in 1990. Koresh was a self-proclaimed prophet and believed that he was appointed by God to bring about the end of the world. Unlike his predecessors, Koresh practiced polygamy, taking a number of underage followers as wives who bore his children. He also collected guns and ammunition in preparation for the coming apocalypse. Word eventually reached federal authorities that the cult was illegally stockpiling weapons.
it's funny because it was a big cult, and they turned the government. They were selling arms and stuff like that. The government was getting scared because the cult was selling guns, and so the government decided to go in and kill everybody. It was the biggest government overreach that we've seen on the citizenry for quite some time. We've got Donald Trump, of course, talking about how we're going to be tough. We got to be tough on people that want voter ID legislation, gun reform legislation. Donald Trump, this rally, guys, you're going to see, I thought it'd be fun to go through this rally and talk about step-by-step, break down exactly what this presidential rally really was. It wasn't really a rally to talk about issues or substance or helping the American citizenry promote the general welfare, secure blessings, and liberty. to ourselves and our posterity, it was more of a greatest hits rally.
February 28, 1993, agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms arrived at the Mount Carmel compound armed with search warrants for the property and an arrest warrant for Koresh. Gunfire erupted, although it's unclear which side started it. At the end of the 2-hour standoff, 4 ATF agents and 6 Branch Davidians were dead. The FBI intervened. Nearly 900 members of law enforcement descended on the compound, including Texas Rangers, Army personnel, and National Guardsmen. For weeks, FBI negotiators bargained with Koresh, bringing in supplies and allowing him to sermonize on the radio in a bid to get him to surrender. Though he allowed a number of Davidians to leave, Koresh displayed no signs of turning himself in. Agents then tried hardball tactics. They turned off the electricity, blasted loud music, and flashed harsh spotlights into the compound's windows. That didn't work either. After a 51-day standoff, Attorney General Janet Reno gave the FBI the green light to raid Mount Carmel. On April 19, 1993, tanks rolled in and punched holes in its walls and deposited nearly 400 canisters of tear gas inside the building. Several hours later, a fire broke out.
This far out in the country without fire hydrants, you have to haul all of your water. It's just a very bad scenario here at this point.
Winds fanned the flames and reduced the entire property to ash within an hour. Around 80 Branch Davidians died, including David Koresh and 25 children. While most died from fire and smoke inhalation, 2 members were found with fatal bullet wounds to the head. 4 federal agents were also killed during that siege.
Of course, stealing an election, that goes along with Stop the Steal, guys. Now, I just want everybody to come along with me as we go back to the greatest hits of Donald Trump. The media is calling this an unhinged and even more odious railing against prosecutors that are, of course, trying to indict him for crimes, tax evasion, fraud, tampering with the elections, of course, in Georgia. All these things. Of course, the law and order president, he's railing against prosecutors in this rally. Very ironic. The conservatives missed that. But also, Donald Trump is doing a lot of it have nothing to do with us, nothing to do with governing. It has only to do with vendettas and his own personal image. This rally was the spitting image of Donald Trump's his personality. And I'd like us to watch as he takes us through his mindset of the things that he finds important to Americans and the American people at large, because he loves this country. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I don't think that I'm very free when the FBI fucks me. And I proudly stand up from Melania's closet because she got searched that day. There ain't no doubt Donald's back. God bless the Trump brand. Hey.
Would you like to run for the Senate? And I will fight hell for you. Speech? Oh, Matt, look at that.
Oh, look at Maddie. It's my boy.
You know, maybe he's gotten a little too far. Then I realized that's really, he's given some very good facts, and people, that's why he won his district.
Shout out to Maddie. He supported me during my election campaign. Shout out to Maddie. So, guys, this is the introduction of the concert of his greatest hits. First, he's got to get his posse out. He's got to give them all shout outs. Shout out to the bass player, Matt Gates. Matt Gates on bass. Marjorie Taylor Greene on drums.
Tremendous amount. Well, they weaponized him too. They weaponized him, phony charges, and he went through. Now, he turned out to be a brave guy. It is a good to say that, man. It's a hell of a test. We learn about people. It's almost like going to school, taking a test. He got an A on that test.
A plus on the test. Matt Gates on drums.
They took away a proven liar, a convicted felon, and a disbarred lawyer, all the same person, believe it or not. Person, it would be 3, 4, 5. Most in the country and in New York City, some of the most respected lawyers testified. They looked at all of these pages of documents. They went back to old cases that were summarily rejected by many prosecutors. Prosecutors all before ending. And I will tell you that this case doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. All of a sudden, pressure got put on by, and the case didn't make sense. Let's go get Trump. They even had numerous prosecutors who resigned because I was being treated unfairly. That made me feel so good when I heard that. Think of it. People actually resigned. Did you know that? Like this. He didn't do anything. But the two prosecutors.
I felt better because they resigned because somebody treated me unfairly. So guys, somebody treated me unfairly. Somebody treated me unfairly. These prosecutors resigned. That makes me feel good. Is any of this getting to promoting the general welfare, securing the blessings of liberty, helping out American citizens that are have stagnant wages? The inflation's crumbling their infrastructure of wealth. Their disparities are affecting the lives of their children and the starvation of their babies. You like babies, Donald, right? You're pro-life? It made me feel good when the prosecutors resigned. Oh, God, this is some good stuff, guys. This is really going to help America. Let's listen to Donald Trump talk about how much he loves us and America when prosecutors resign because somebody treated him unfairly.
Human scum.
Human scum.
One Hillary Clinton lawyer from a Hillary Clinton law
firm. Human scum.
You believe that? Represents Hillary Clinton. A firm that represents her. It's headed up by Chuck Schumer's brother, this law firm, Robert Schumer. Think of this. Now think of this. And he calls up the prosecutor. Think of this. He calls up the district attorney of Manhattan. He said, I'd like to come and work for free. I'm going to leave. I represent Hillary Clinton. We represent the DNC, the Democrat Party. I don't even know if you know this. And he said, I want to work for free. He's a bad guy. I want to work for free to get the head prosecutor. Then you had another one similar. And then he goes out and he quits because the head of the office, but then he went bad because he succumbed to pressure.
So as you can see, Trump starts off a slow rambling story, a very slow rambling story of how somebody tried to conspiratorially get him on crimes that he probably did commit. I want to work. Donald, what prosecutor would want to work for free to get you, unless you've done something to these people that they want to get you for? I'll just work for free to get Donald. Because why? Hillary Clinton? Chuck Schumer's brother. So after the introduction of the band, Matt Gaetz on bass, got a bunch of Taylor Green on drums. Then he's gonna spit out Democrats, Hillary Clinton, prosecutors. So unfair. Fake news. None of these things mean anything. None of these things are relevant to our lives. None of these things will help promote our welfare of our society. None of these things will stop mass shootings. None of these things will curb income inequality. None of these things will ensure domestic tranquility. None of these things will make peace a global commodity. None of these things will break up the banks. None of these things will ensure accountability on Wall Street. None of these things will accomplish anything. This is just a rambling story about how he is treated so unfairly. But he pops in some names that people don't like. You hear the crowd, boo, Chuck Schumer's brother, boo, Hillary Clinton, boo. Now, this is the kind of shit. Now, I don't know, guys. You think that Trump's strong, but Trump single-handedly makes me fucking feel that you guys are lizard brain retarded. Because he hasn't said a goddamn thing so far. But there's all this clapping and there's all this cheering for what? For a story where he can barely recall on a prosecutorial scenario that never happened because of crimes that he committed, and he's trying to distract from while he gives you everything you want. Greatest hits, Chuck Schumer's brother, Hillary Clinton. In the first 5 minutes, guys, Hillary Clinton. This guy. So, in essence, this rally is literally him. He's picked up every single little tidbit of things that you can cheer for. I would be surprised if he says, "Let's go, Brandon," in this rally. He just spits out every single piece of buzzword that he's picked up thus far, and he tries out some new ones. But we're gonna let Donald Trump finish his meandering, rambling story about nothing. Go ahead, Donald.
A little bit on the little thing. Under a great deal of
He's under
pressure.
pressure.
Now I understand that he's made up his mind
I
and
got
he
some
agrees
coffee.
with his original.
I got some
But how-
coffee. I said he did nothing wrong. He said, "Oh," I said, "No. Well, you wanted to work for free." I was like, "Well, I want to be the president. I want to win." And then I said, "Hillary Clinton, fake news media," and yeah, it's very fucking riveting.
Guy
Riveting.
representing him goes for no salary, no anything.
No salaries.
He goes into the. He doesn't get what he wants. The office.
So conservatives, they don't ever ask a story like this guy. He works for free, right? He doesn't have a salary, like Donald just said. He gets into the attorney general's office somehow. You don't know why. He won't tell you why. That's the first question. How did he get in there? Second question is, who is working for free to get you? And what the fuck did you do to this guy that he wants to work for free to get you? Donald's never going to answer that question. He's just going to talk about how this. So, guys, do you realize that there's a reason why these people want to get him? It's because he screws them over. He's a snake oil salesman. He's a fraud. He's a lying buffoon who didn't write his own book. And his Wharton School of Business degree was called it's austerity. His father gave him a legacy spot in Wharton. He's never earned anything in his entire life that wasn't already given to him. He's entitled up to the hilt. He's a crybaby, lying, buffoonish bitch of these people. These people, by the way, that he has coffee with. He talks to on a daily basis. He literally donated to Hillary Clinton's campaign. Remember, the economy just much greater under Democrats. That was when Bill Clinton was president. Now that for some reason people are working for free trying to get him. We don't know why. Conservatives won't ask why. Why won't they ask why? Well, because Donald's tough. He's strong. He's tough and strong. We don't need to ask why. We just need to listen to his stupid story that he can barely recall, and it's mostly bullshit.
And he writes a book, and the book is published during the case. And I will say this, he's absolutely killed by the media, even the fake news media.
Fake news media! They did a great job, fake news media. By the way, conservatives, if that went by your heads, Donald Trump just literally praised the fake news media. He said they did a good job. Did y'all hear that? Oh, no, we didn't hear that shit. He's strong. He's tough. Don't worry about it. Contradiction, or is it? Maybe it's just him being strong and tough. Who knows?
They say that itself is enough reason that should have stopped a long time ago. So he goes in and he writes a book telling. What do you
think of that, Mr. Gates? What do you think of that, puppets on the fucking chorus? So, guys, I'm gonna fast forward this. This story goes on forever. and that's why people walked out of his rally, because he wasn't saying enough "Let's go Brandons." He was talking about stupid shit. Boring ass story. Let's go 20 minutes in, guys. See what Donald Trump's talking about. Is he going to talk about healthcare? Is he going to talk about wages? Is he going to talk about unemployment? Is he going to talk about the Fed raising rates? What's he going to talk about? He's going to talk about the issues that are facing Americans today. Let's see what Donald Trump's talking about. What'd you do, Donald?
And I work all this willingly. I watch other people run for office. I mean, Mike Bloomberg spent $2.5 billion. He never got past the first question, right? So, but I do it again because I love you and I love our country. Thank you.
After McVeigh was executed, Yusuf commented, "I have never known anyone in my life who has so similar a personality to my own as his." It is becoming harder and harder to distinguish us from our enemies. Trump, given the political, economic, and cultural destruction carried out by neoliberalism, is not an aberration. He is the result of a market society and capitalist democracy that has ceased to function. An angry and alienated underclass is entranced by electronic hallucinations that take the place of literacy. These Americans take a perverse and almost diabolical delight in demagogues such as Trump that expressed contempt for and openly flout the traditional rules and rituals of a power structure that preys upon them. Similar demagogues like Modi have risen.
So they're not coming in their way, and I'm going to be standing in their way for a long time. I don't have to stand in their way. In 2020, having this delay of 4 years, it was devastating for the psyche of our country. It was devastating for our country, devastating for many people. When you look at millions and millions and millions of people pouring into our country, devastating. But you know, if we do it in 24, then had we done it in 20, because we have learned how this other side and how the policies work. What has went after al-Baghdadi. That was not a good day for al-Baghdadi. But under Joe Biden, American patriots are being arrested and held in captivity. Like, what's happening? And they did leave the dogs behind. A lot of dog lovers. We all love dogs, but they did. A lot of people did behind those great